One. Welcome to Motivation Monday. We do this every third Monday of the month, and we normally do it at TGI Friday, but we are live on Zoom. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we are on Twitter. So I'm excited about today. I'm excited, always excited to get to see everyone's faces, get to see what you're doing, get to see what everybody is up to. So let's start with introductions. Who wants to go first, Khadijah? I'm sorry.
Sure, Shelly, I'll go first. Happy first Motivation Monday of 2020, everyone. My name is Khadijah Douglas, aka Dr. D. I am a naturopathic medical doctor. I help women go from tired and irritable to healthy, energized, thriving, and losing weight by using natural therapies. That's me.
Awesome. I think that's amazing. Matthew, you want to go next?
Yes, Shelley. Hi, Mr. Olds. Hi, everybody. I'm a one-year enthusiast of Motivation Monday, and it's a sister program going on a Saturday night. I've developed my concept for my business of kind of creative and enthusiastic support of artists, entertainers, and entrepreneurs. I'm in the very early stages of it still.
All right. Thanks, Matthew. Who is next? I see on my screen, Catrice. Introduce. It's you.
Hey everybody, it's Catrice Bailey, and I also have a show called When Models Talk, and I'm a mother of 3, and of course I'm model too.
Yeah. You're so funny. I see everyone else's camera is off. I'm not sure if you want to go, Victoria or George.
I'll go.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? My name is George Cephas. I'm the founder of Survival to Success. We focus on helping the Black community mentally, spiritually, and financially. Do that through youth programming, community engagement, and transformation coaching. I'm also an author as well of a journal called 50 Questions of Healing and an ebook called Survival to Success, Moving the Black Community Forward. And I'm also getting ready to launch a magazine called Her Grow Online Magazine, so stay tuned for that as well. You guys can follow the nonprofit page at Survival to Success. Thanks, y'all. Miss y'all. Love y'all.
We miss you too. Love you too. Soon. That's all I'm gonna say. Soon. Tasha. Or not. Victoria.
Yes, hi. My name is Victoria Nelson. I am a Mary Kay consultant in my Mary Kay business called Globatory. And I also started a women's forum called Coffee, Cake, and Conversation.
Awesome, amazing. William? It says William's phone.
Hello,
I guess
I'm William Nelson, husband of Victoria Nelson, owner of Fresh Eyes Cleaning, LLC, and Fresh Eyes Entertainment.
Awesome. So awesome to see each and every person here. So let's get into our guest for this evening. His name is Brian J. Olds, founder of Black Speakers Network. I recently got to hear him speak on Dr. Cheryl Wood's platform. And when I say, you see a lot of people on these platforms, it's like 100 people talking, right? Talk. But there's always someone that you resonate with. There's somebody that just like, you just jump into the screen and you say, that's the one. So when I saw Brian J. Old and I hear him speaking at all the speakers, I said, that's the one I want to speak to. So thank you so much, Brian, for just agreeing to be here. We appreciate you. So if you want to introduce yourself, tell them a little more, and then I'll get into the questions.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much, Shelly Shut Williams in the building. I'm so excited to be here and just to be surrounded by all this energy and positivity and intelligence and just all around good vibes. This is how you want to start off 2021. So could not think of a better place to be. I wish we were at TGI Fridays because they have some amazing appetizers and I'm overdue for some pot stickers and some other stuff. So
Me too.
anyway, Brian O's here, founder and president of Black Speakers Network, coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland. Our mission here at BSN is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. Started the organization in 2016, and we have been rolling ever since. I have the pleasure of leading now a rapidly growing online community of approximately 12,000 current and aspiring professional speakers from all across the world, but mostly here in the US, North America, the Caribbean, South Africa. And so we are focused on securing speaking engagements, making sure that speakers are able to connect to the audience that they're called to serve and have fun while we're doing it. And so that's what we do.
You do have a lot of fun. So today I happened to catch you on Clubhouse, Team Clubhouse. Anyway, so I happened to catch you on Clubhouse in the Monday motivation room. And one thing I noticed, and the one thing I really want to key on for all of us, each one of us here, the introductions that each one had was powerful. And I'm normally a person who speaks in every platform. I believe in making sure your voice is heard in every platform, but I shut up. I shut up. So is that something that Black Speakers Network teaches, those powerful introductions?
It is. And so one of our thought leaders is a woman by the name of Quinn Conyers, and she teaches a concept called the verbal business card, which is basically learning how to verbalize your brilliance. Believe it or not, most of the time when we open our mouths, and you could probably realize this, I mean, we're in the microwave generation, the Twitter or Twitter, you know, as you said earlier, like we have very, very short attention spans. And so you have less than 15 seconds, particularly when you're beginning a presentation, you have 15 seconds to capture somebody's attention. So after 15 seconds, your audience has already determined whether or not they're going to continue listening to your presentation. And they have already determined whether or not they like you. And so you have a very short window of time. So with a verbal business card, you're able to actually craft that message in a way that not only verbalizes your value, but also make sure that you are positioning yourself as a thought leader and an expert. And really, for most people, they're going to remember at least one thing that you say. And you want to be intentional about what that one thing is. And if that thing is going to pique the interest of the person that you want to connect with. For example, Catrice, I will never forget the fact that she has 3 kids and that she is a model. So like those are things that you can make sure you stand out, and you could do that effectively through pauses. You could do that through the way that you are modulating your voice, and you could certainly use that with the words you select. And she is excellent. Quinn is excellent at creating what we call luxury language and keeping you away from what she calls dissound dialect. And so within Black Speakers Network, we have what we call Black Speakers University. These are live instructor-led online classes. And so that's one of the classes that you have the option of taking. And so when you come into the community, everybody's trying to figure out the speaking business. And unfortunately, there is no major of professional speaking in colleges and universities. I think we have an opportunity to change that, Dr. Douglas. So, you know, maybe that might be something we could talk about. But generally speaking, right now, people are either selected, elected, or kidnapped into the professional speaking industry. And so it's kind of up to you to figure out how to put the pieces together. And so that's what we are helping people do.
And I think that is very key. It's like one of those things that you could go speaking, and I've been on television for a while, but I realized that is something else, because you're selling within, they each sold within what they were saying. Like I can remember the one who said the focus on the cheese, focus on making the cheese. What's it called? Grilled cheese. Focus on making the grilled cheese.
That was Star. Yep.
Yeah, it was so amazing. Something in her thing said focus on making the grilled cheese, and it reminded me that a lot of times I do the same thing she was doing. She said when she's making the grilled cheese, she walks away, and the one side turns out great, and the other side turns out is burnt because you walked away and you got on the phone and you did something and you didn't focus on the grilled cheese. Let me tell you, that was one beginning conversation that is in my head forever because it's me. I burn. I promise you, I burn everything because I walk away from the stove.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I get you. I mean, I've burnt cereal before, so that's kind of how it goes. Matthew, hopefully you're not cooking, while you're listening to this, even though you're right there in the kitchen. But it's true, and I think a lot of times we think we can multitask effectively. There's actually a principle called the cognitive switching penalty, which proves that if we are trying to focus on more than one thing, there's actually a loss of productivity. In our brains where it feels like we're actually checking our email, writing, sending a text message, having a conversation. But every time we switch back and forth, there's a little bit of loss of productivity, but more importantly, there's a loss of energy, and the time it takes to get back to the thing that we were doing before is lost. So Star was absolutely right about that. Don't cook if you're going to make a grilled cheese, just focus on making the grilled cheese and then go to the next thing. As entrepreneurs and speakers, and even as people, sometimes we try to spread ourselves way too thin in the name of getting stuff accomplished, and it really doesn't end up working out that way.
I am so guilty of that. But what that whole point is, when you say something that someone wants to hear, then that means they're going to gravitate towards you. So my goal is for all of us to get better in our introduction. And so I would love to be a part of the whole university because we as a unit need it. I didn't realize it until today. But so let's talk about speaking in general. You go to Black Speakers Network, there's an opportunity to get into the university. But more importantly, you can't just walk out there and speak. And that's we're talking myth versus fact. That's a myth. You can't just walk out there and speak. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, so you can, but I don't recommend it. And so most people join Black Speakers Network because they're looking for one of a few things. Most people are looking for a place to actually learn the business of speaking, and so how to put everything together. Some people are literally were like me when I first started as a speaker, which, if you were sitting in a small classroom next to me here in Baltimore at Morgan State University, Catrice, you would have watched as I stood up, nervously made my way to the front of the room and prepared to deliver my very first speech in Toastmasters. And if you were sitting probably close enough, you would have noticed just a couple things. So Dr. Douglas, you definitely would have saw my sweaty palms. You would have heard my voice starting to crack under the weight of the pressure of the moment. And I don't know if anybody's had the situation of, having to deliver a presentation for the first time in front of 20 people. If you add it up, that's 40 eyeballs looking at you. So to get rid of some of that nervous energy, Matthew, I started pacing back and forth. So, I'm looking like a cheetah on Discovery Channel, going back and forth. And eventually, I don't know who did it, William, but somebody left the door to the classroom open. So I'm getting closer and closer to the door. Eventually, I'm about to leave out of the classroom. I have a Nigerian friend. His name is Deepo Adesina. He's in the back trying to wave me in Southwest Airlines style. So all this is happening in the first 20 seconds. And, they talk about the butterflies being in your stomach. I had a bad case of the butterflies, but, Shelly Shell, this wasn't the Discovery Channel kind of majestic butterflies you see on TV and they're just kind of peaceful. These were the Hannibal Lecter style horror movie, trying to, burst out of my chest type of thing. So all this stuff has happened in my first presentation, but I make it through and I immediately realize wow, I didn't die on the spot. And number two, if I survive my first presentation, I could deliver 2. And then eventually 2 turned into 4, 4 turned into 10. And, I started speaking outside of Toastmasters. And then I started eventually, with Black Speakers Network. But my point of sharing all that trauma is that everybody starts somewhere on their public speaking journey. And so if anybody's listening to this and they're thinking wow, I want to be a speaker, but I just don't know where to start, or maybe I'm already speaking, but I'm just not getting on the stages that I necessarily want to get to. it's a journey. Like this business is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And so everybody kind of has to run their own race. So going back to your question about, where should you start? I think, with BSN, we spend a lot of time talking to new speakers and we always ask, hey, what do you want? And the number one thing is like, hey, I want to get more paid speaking engagements. Like they want the check, Matthew. Like, give me the check. I want 5 figures, cold hard cash. Give it to me. I'm ready. And, we get it. But at the end of the day, if you are going to make a transition from being a public speaker, which there's plenty of people that speak and they don't want to be full-time speakers, or they're not even part-time speakers. They just, if somebody asks them to speak, they speak. But if you want to make a transition from like public speaker to professional speaker in any capacity, there's a few key things that we believe at BSN are important to have. And so we call those things, William, the 5 M's. And so I'll give you the 5 M's really quick, and then I'll answer your question. So the 5 M's are basically getting clarity on, number one, your mission. Mission is super, super important. And we'll put some definition on it. But you want to get clarity on your mission. You also want to get clarity on your message. We talk a lot in Toastmasters, which is where I started speaking, about your message, how to structure a presentation. You want to get clarity on your marketing. So you could be the best speaker in the world, but it doesn't matter if nobody's able to find you. So the things you mentioned about Clubhouse and some of the advanced tools we have right now are super important. The fourth M you want to get clarity on is how to monetize your speaking. And that's the thing everybody wants to skip to, but there's actually some things you want to think about there, because there are a lot of different ways you can monetize your speaking outside of just getting paid up front. And then the fifth thing is how to manage your speaking business. And so that kind of comes back to like business 101, like making sure that, you're, structuring your business properly, that you have your contracts in place, that you have systems, processes, et cetera. So mission, message, marketing, how to monetize, and how to manage your speaking business. And so anybody that comes into BSN, our goal is to help educate each person along each of those 5 M's. And so when you ask the question, hey, can you just start speaking? The answer is yes, but oftentimes new speakers are speaking without one important element, and that's a strategy. Like, what is the plan? Like, where do we actually want our audience to go? And so what we learned is that you could be a speaker for one of two reasons. You're either speaking to feed your ego, or you're speaking to feed your audience. If you're speaking to feed your ego, it doesn't really matter, as long as you go up on stage, you're talking, you look good, you smell good, you're probably good to go. But if you're speaking to actually serve your audience, you really want to give careful thought to the type of speaking engagements that you accept, the type of audience that you're putting yourself in front of, and really thinking about what is the next step in the process for each person that you're talking to.
Absolutely. So that's something that I think that I'm not really thinking about the money. Of course, we all want to, but I always realized I wanted to be better at the speaking. And as I've been watching every single, literally from everything on Clubhouse, from just so, I was going to do a whole thing, a speech on everything I learned from Clubhouse. And what I learned is people have their pitches down pat, right? They have their pitching down pat, but they also know what their mission is and how to serve. So when it comes to the myths, you said that everybody's message doesn't need to hear your message, or you think that everybody wants to hear what you have to say. So talk about that myth versus that fact.
Yeah, so we have far too many speakers trying to speak to far too many people far too often, right? So the idea that once you start, so let's say, Matthew, let's say, you's like, hey, I'm gonna be a speaker. Great. Oftentimes we have this idea that, we could speak to everybody. And the last time I checked, we have something like 7 billion people on the planet. So that's a lot of people to try to speak to. Most of them don't even speak English. So it's very challenging to like have a target market of everybody. And so what we have adopted is, if you speak to everybody, you ultimately speak to no one. And so ultimately what you want to do is try to carve down into what we call a niche. So you want to not only niche down your topic, but you also want to select a specific niche, aka a target audience of people that you really want to impact. So for example, oftentimes we will have new speakers and they say, we ask them, hey, what's your topic? Motivation or like leadership or something like high level. Like, okay, who's your target audience? And they say women. Okay. So that's out of 7 billion people, that's like 3 billion. So like, how can we like niche that down? So you say, well, what are the things that tie the specific type of women together that are going to serve you best? And part of what it is that we kind of have to look within ourselves to see exactly, going back to that first M, mission. Embedded in that M are some other like little decisions that you really have to figure out as a speaker. And so one is the person. So like, who are you going to serve? But as you think about the person, you also have to really think about, okay, what problem do I specifically want to solve? If you're solving a problem for somebody, I don't care who you are, you're going to be good for the rest of your life, because as long as you're solving a problem, you have a business. That's the core of all of entrepreneurship. So like, what problem are you solving? Number three, so you pick your person, you pick your problem. The third thing you really have to figure out is what is the promise? Like, what solution are you going to provide for that person? And are you capable of delivering that solution? If you are, then you're probably well suited for it. If you're not, then that might be a little bit of a challenge. And so you definitely want to figure that out. And the fourth thing you want to figure out is your process. So you got your person, you got your problem. I like to call it pain. Like, so what like pain are you alleviating? But you got your person, you got your problem or pain, you have your promise, and then you have your process. So what is going to be the step-by-step thing? So once you can figure that out, you can quickly realize that you can't really talk to everybody on earth. You really have to focus in on the group of individuals. And it doesn't necessarily have to be women, men. It doesn't have to be like, certain age groups or whatever, but there's some things that we call psychographics. So things that will actually tie together that group of people that you can go after. And that way, your audience is going to have something in common that you can be able to be more intentional about how you spend your marketing efforts to get to those people. So that's just a long way of saying, yes, you gotta take some time to what I call slow down to speed up and really figure out who it is that you really, really want to speak to. Because if my target audience, again, we're making decisions quickly. So if you take a look at my website, if you go to my social media, if you're listening to me on Clubhouse, if you're on a podcast like this, and you're like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about, I don't know what he does, like, you're going to tune out. And most of us, if we get confused by our website, what's the likelihood that we're going to go back? Probably very little, if at all. So you want to nail it. And it's okay if you don't appeal to most of the people in the world. That's great, because it'll be much more easy for the people that are supposed to that we call your tribe, that are supposed to be a part of your tribe, to resonate with you. Like, if Matt is I'm gonna just say hoodie enthusiast, because I'm missing my hoodie right now, man. Like, if you're a hoodie enthusiast, you shouldn't be talking to, like, if people, are wearing 3-piece suits, if they're wearing like, pajama, like all those other people, they need to go somewhere else. Like, I want to be the best hoodie guy. Like, and if it's blue hoodies, even better, because now all the other people that sell the red hoodies and the gray hoodies, like, they not messing with me. Like, we got it locked on blue hoodies. So if you want the foremost expert on blue hoodies, talk to Matt. And guess what? Matt is going to get paid a lot higher in the marketplace, because now, instead of swimming in this big ocean with everybody else, now he's in this smaller pond, and he's the top dog in that smaller pond.
So when it comes to Black Speakers Network, when you're saying, hey, we're coming here to the website and we see speakers, so is that niche down? Is it all speakers, or is it a specific, and we know it's Black? Hey, Black. I mean, it could be for everybody. You too, Matt. You're honorary Black. There you go. So we know that it's Black, but what is the niche on that? Is it just all speakers? Is it motivational speakers, or are you really honing in on a specific type of speaker?
Yes, that is an excellent question. And so with Black Speakers Network, we a lot of times we use the so within our mission statement, you'll hear us kind of dog whistle to specific language that is specific to folks who are just starting off their speaking journey. So not too seasoned, but basically when we say things like the next generation of Black professional speakers, we're not talking about age. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are. And actually, Matt, you are welcome because we don't even discriminate on race. Like we don't, everybody's welcome. But the thing that we want to make sure is that we are helping you launch your speaking business. And so there are 5 kind of levels that we've identified in terms of where people can be in their speaking business. And so the lowest level is what we call aspiring speaker. These are people who are really, they're just thinking about getting started. They're like, man, I could be that one day. I don't really have a message yet. I don't know who my target audience is, but I think I could speak and I want to learn more. So that's level 1. Level 2 is what we call emerging speakers. So these are people who are already out there speaking. They have some stuff together. They're still working on it. They have, you know, maybe their signature keynote. They may even have published a book. They might be making some money. Certainly not, you know, 6 figures yet, but you know, they're starting and they're trying to put the pieces together. Level 3 is what we call seasoned. So these people are typically have been speaking for 5 or more years. They're well over 6 figures. They have really a diversified portfolio of offerings, as Cheryl Wood would say. So they not only have books, but they have courses, they have, you know, other content, they have consulting, they have a lot of clarity on who their target market is. And so these people are like ready to go and they are already crushing it. They're just trying to get more of what they already have in place. And then, so those 3 levels are really the areas that we focus on, specifically 80% of aspiring and emerging. I would say 20% of the seasoned. So that's kind of where Black Speakers Network target audience is. Now, there are 2 levels above that that we don't even service. The next 2 levels is expert, that's level 4. So these are people like Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Delatoro McNeil. Like these people have been speaking 10 plus years, multiple 6, 7, in some cases 8 or even 9-figure businesses. Just they're their own brand. And so BSN, you know, we leverage them as thought leaders into the network to grow the membership. And then the 5th level is celebrity. And so that's like Obama. Like you don't even like it doesn't, you know, Michelle or Barack, you know, pick one, you know, Obama, the Pope, you know, people who they may not even necessarily be speakers, but just because of their celebrity, they can come in and command like a specific amount of money. So we're not worried about the celebrities. We're not worried about the experts. We're really there for the people who are trying to figure out how to navigate the speaking business.
I like that. You know, it's funny that I didn't realize I was following a speaker's trend. So everybody you mentioned, Della Toro, Cheryl McNeil, I mean Cheryl Wood. You're mentioning people, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm in media, but all of a sudden I started finding myself following speakers because I feel that even though each one of us have an individual type of business model, but she turned modeling into a TV show, you know, a podcast and things like that. So George has a magazine. So I believe that in that, I think that each person who has a business should learn the speaking aspects because we will be called upon to speak somewhere, which is, I thought I was a speaker because I've been called upon to speak somewhere, but I realized we're not speakers. So is that's also open to them. They may not be aspiring speakers, but they have a business and they need to learn these things. Is it for them as well?
Yeah, so really there's 2 categories of that. You nailed it, right? I mean, beautiful. We can put that on the website. So like there's 2 kind of paths, if you will, of professional speakers. So you have folks that are really building more of those professional brands around themselves. So you are the thought leader. So you're talking about leadership or development or health and wellness or whatever your thing is, and you are the brand. On the second category, you have people who are speaking as a function of their career or as the function of their business. So it becomes a marketing tool to grow their business. So we have people who are like have real estate agencies. I was just speaking to my cousin Sunday. She just started a cleaning company in Killeen, Texas, and she just had her first like 4-figure month, and she's like killing it, hiring employees, doing all types of cool stuff. And she's talking to me about speaking because she's been hitting the Chamber of Commerce's. She's getting, invited, but eventually people are going to ask her. People aren't just going to be asking her about cleaning. Now, when she goes to they're going to be asking her, hey, how did you, get improved as an 8A business? How did you hire these employees? How did you scale a cleaning company? Like, how did you go from being a corrections officer to, owning a cleaning? Like, people are going to ask her business questions, but every time she goes to speak, it's also going to be generating more business for the traditional business. So people kind of find themselves in that category. I was speaking for work. Like when I left Morgan, I ended up going to a staff and recruiting agency. I spent 2 years as a full-time training professional, and I went back to school to study instructional design. So every single day I was speaking, but it was on behalf of my company. And so there are multitudes of ways that could show up. But at the end of the day, I think when speakers come to BSN, it's really three things. It's you are looking for visibility. You're looking to establish your credibility in whatever area of expertise that you have, and you're just looking for speaking opportunities. And so, for anybody that's looking for those three areas, I think we could potentially support.
Absolutely. But it's funny you said, I remember on Clubhouse, you said you spent 11 years in a cubicle. I think the other guy was saying that that was his beginning speech. His beginning point was, yeah, I came from spending 11 years in a cubicle, and now, so that was a whole selling point there, which got my attention too, because I haven't necessarily been in a cubicle, but I've been trying to figure out, like, how you say finding your mission, and the whole time you're talking, I'm sitting there thinking, what is my mission? Where am I going? You know what I mean? How? Because we have so many things we could do. A lot of us do a lot of things, and we got to figure out how to niche it down. So you mentioned something about only amateur speakers accept free speaking engagements. What do you mean by that? Because we don't want, most people want paid engagements, right?
Yeah. So so that actually falls in the category of a myth. So, when speakers first get started, they think that when you first start, you accept a whole lot of free speaking opportunities, and then as you get bigger, you don't really do any speaking opportunity or free speaking opportunities. So I disagree with that. I think that, and we had a great Clubhouse conversation about this a couple of weeks ago. So we got to hear from like Della Toro and Dr. Willie Jolly and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like, as a speaker, what you want to do more than anything else is figure out a way to get in front of your audience on a consistent basis. Now, William, there's a lot of ways to get in front of your audience. Like, I'm getting in front of my audience right now. I guarantee there are some people, some aspiring Black Speakers Network members, listening to this, broadcast. So the thing about it is you have to evaluate, again, strategy. You have to think about what is in your best interest anytime that you're evaluating a speaking opportunity. Now, when I first started speaking, I could care less about strategy. Catrice, I was running around Baltimore giving presentations to everybody. Like, you want time management? Got it. You want, presentation skills? Got it. You want, agriculture? Okay, I'll go read about it, come speak about it. Like, that was my thing. But as you move forward, you don't really have time for that. And so what you have to, if an organization is coming to you and asks you to speak, and they don't have a budget for speakers, okay, one, who's going to be there? Going back to the mission, is it my ideal person? If so, there might be a great opportunity. And then what are some of the non-financial opportunities that may exist there? Can I get testimonials? Can I get photos? Can I get video? Can I sell products? Selling from the back of the room is a strategy that will actually allow many speakers to earn, and in many cases, multiple 2 to 3, if not 4 or 5 times more than you would have if you would have even had like $1,000 or $2,000 speaking fee. I've seen people close, 5, 6 figure rooms, just on one offer. And so it really depends on what's allowed and also what's most appropriate for both the amount of time that you're speaking, as well as, who the audience is and what else is happening in that room. That's a whole nother topic. But generally speaking, there are a lot of ways that you can leverage quote unquote free speaking opportunities for your benefit. The other thing is that you can walk away with additional contacts. And so to me, the contact information, when I say contact, I'm basically talking about email addresses. Um, that is the most valuable resource you can have in business. Shelly, before we got on, we were talking about, building kind of a membership community. I think the future of business is community. Future of business is certainly information. And so your ability, if you go in and they say, hey, we can't pay you, but I'm going to be speaking to like a room full of entrepreneurs, it's 250 people, and I get all of their contact information at the end of the presentation. That could be great because then I could start to build relationship with 250 people. I didn't have to go run Facebook ads. I didn't have to, cold call. I didn't have to make 100 like LinkedIn posts. These are basically free leads. And so a lot of times speaking becomes that a lead generation mechanism. So yeah, that's a myth. I absolutely am. My mission in life, Matthew, if I can get rid of that myth, like I will be happy. You could be like, that would be the thing because a lot of speakers are and now I'm not saying you shouldn't be paid to present. You should have a speaking fee. You should raise it consistent to your level of expertise. You should raise it as the market is able to demand it. But at the same time, we leave a lot of money on the table because of ego, honestly, and just thinking that, oh, I should be paid, whatever. Says who? Like, go get your, so that's the whole thing. I won't go in further, but it's it's an area that we could have an entire session on, many hours.
Maybe hours. It's
Many,
funny when
many
you
hours. Yes.
when you mentioned selling from the back of the room. Maybe this is where my passion or my following speakers. It was a guy. His name was JT Fox, right? Was it JT Fox? Something like that. JT Fox. But anyway, this dude comes up, and it was an all day conference, and I'm like enjoying it all day. I met some beautiful people. I don't know. It's like the connections. It was like mad connections. And we get there all day. We go out to lunch. I mean, it's like a whole day. And then he gets to the end of the thing, and his price points were high. But when I saw a crowd go to the back for $5, $15, $20,000 package, 5, 15, 20, I was like, yo, he wasn't that good. I mean, not like that. He's good, but 5, 15, 20. And I was like, and I'm looking at the person who I met there. I was like, oh crap, she went and got it. It was another lady I knew from the past. She went and got it. I was like, wow. I saw the possibilities. My eyes opened up. Like he went up there talking about, he put on Stedman on the phone. Stedman. So he grabbed him in with see, I'm friends with Stedman. Here's Stedman on the phone. And I'm like, did that get you? I could go put DJ Cool on the phone or something. Can I get 5, 15, and $20,000 packages?
I mean, he had a hook. So I think, here's the deal. Like there's always going to be people. So sometimes we do an excellent job of selling ourselves short. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and be like, oh yeah, here's my $20,000 program and you don't have anything behind it. Cause then that's how you get a bad reputation. But at the end of the day, most people are underestimating their value, not overestimating it. And so, and we see this a lot, and particularly in BSN where, let's say you were in a job or a career for, I don't know, 10 years or even 5 years. And let's say you were making, $100,000, let's say. So psychologically, you're kind of locked in at that level. It's like, oh, I am worth in the marketplace, I'm worth $100,000. And so I can't charge more than this because this is all I've made like my entire life. And that's 100,000 a year. And then you get into like rooms like this, and you see people making like $100,000 a week in some cases, and it's like, okay, like how's that possible? And the reason is that corporations, they're not paying you what you're worth. They're paying you what they believe the value of that job is worth. You are worth exponentially more than whatever a company is paying you. I don't care whatever it is, we do the 10x rule. So like whatever you're making, if you make $100,000 at a job right now, that means you're probably in the open market, that same skill set. If you just, Matthew Inc. went out, put your, business card, whatever you're doing for your, like in the open market, you could, in the same amount of time, 1 year, you're probably worth $1 million. And so it's kind of like, but we get stuck into this silo. And so a lot of what we focus on in BSN is around mindset. And actually, if there was a sixth M, it would probably be mindset, because honestly, it's until, if you don't believe you're worth $100,000, there's no way, like your business will never grow past your self-image. So you have to get in a space where you believe that you not only are worthy of that money, but that people, like, it's not a question, like, yeah, $15,000, that's what it is. Like, sign up, you need a payment plan. Okay. But that's what it is. Like, I don't have to diminish my value down to like make it comfortable for other people. Like, your price is your price. And that's something I had to learn, over time. But I think generally speaking, once you figure that out and you figure out like what the true value of the offer that you have, then you don't have to get so worried about everybody getting on board, because if you wanted to make $100,000, you could have one package, one really big corporate package that you sell to a company for $100,000. People do that. You could have 2 programs priced at $50,000, or you can have 10 programs priced at $10,000, or you could have 100 programs priced at $1,000. But what we start realizing is that it takes this, in a lot of cases, it takes the same amount of energy, the same amount of creativity, and the same amount of work to sell the $1,000 thing 100 times as it does to sell the $100,000 thing one time. And so those are the types of decisions you have to start making as you move forward in the business.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I even bought, and he had a package that was a DVD for $200, and I bought that. So believe it or not, he sold it in the way that you wanted it. That's what I want. That's what I realized I wanted to be. I wanted to be able to, not because it's the money, but the fact that he was able to influence a whole. When I say it was crowded, it was crowded, and it was people, and it was like, man, I want to be able to influence with what I have that many people, because like I even got up there and bought something. But let's talk about, you mentioned that was still on Clubhouse, you mentioned something about being a full-time, you're a full-time entrepreneur. What was it that helped you go from employee to full-time entrepreneur, and what helped sustain all of that?
Yeah. Well, one quick tool, I think for your last question that I answer this, Delator McNeil has an amazing program called Crush Your Sales.
Crush Your Sales. I got
Crush Your Sales. Yeah. that thing, if people just took that, like, you'll be good in terms of sales. But in terms of transition to my job, so yeah, I left my job April 12th of 2019. It was 5:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was 62 degrees outside. The wind was blowing 4 miles an hour, south by southwest. So I got all of that because, I spent 11 years working for the same company. And, they always say, Catrice, they're always like, hey, write your letter of resignation. So write your letter of resignation before you're ready. So you kind of just have it sitting there and you're ready to do it. And there's this like formula for, leaving corporate America, like the intelligent way. So the intelligent way, William, is you're supposed to, pay down as much of your debt as possible, have 6 months of expenses in the bank, in case something goes wrong. Use up your time off, your vacation and all that, your PTO, so you can get that money. Um, you know, just general best practice. Find new insurance, all that good stuff. So that was my game plan. So when I decided I was going to leave corporate, that was what I started doing. And yeah, I didn't have any of that like set up. So I was like, okay. But what I did have was 18 months of continuous revenue growth with the business. And so as we start talking about these things, one of the best quotes I heard this year was from my guy Joey Price. He runs an awesome podcast as well. But he said, if 2020 has taught us anything, is that having one stream of income is dangerously close to having zero streams of income.
Thanks.
And so what I inadvertently kind of started doing within BSN was creating these like multiple streams. And so of course BSN, we're a membership driven organization. At the time, I think we had about 400 or so members. I actually had a big 400 on my wall because that was the number that I really wanted to hit, not necessarily to leave my job, but it was just more like, hey, if I get here, then like, okay, we're doing something like, 4K a month, 5K a month, 6K a month, 7K a month, climbing the ladder. But yeah, so it's kind of like developing these multiple streams of income developed a level of security where I was relatively confident that, unless 200 to 300 people quit like tomorrow just because they don't like me or something blew up, probably going to be okay. Now, am I balling? No. Was I going eating out every night? Not at all. Was I going on a lot of dates? Absolutely not. But I was, okay from I was paying my rent, paying my light bill, stuff like that. So April of 2019 came about because I was planning to stay a lot longer. I was planning to not leave until like July, I think. But internal conversations were happening, things were changing. So people were leaving, my boss left, that boss left. And then I was in a meeting with the vice president and it was like, hey, what do you want to do? And I was just like, I'm out. And they're like, you out where? You going to lunch? Like, nah. I'm like, I'm out. Like, I'm gone. They're like, why? And I was like, personal reasons, which is true. Like, it's and I think that that's a really empowering feeling. And I think everybody in the sound of my voice is even if you don't sell anything or you're just like, oh, well, I don't even, I don't have a website, I don't know what I'm doing, whatever. Everybody in the sound of my voice right now is no more than 48 hours away from developing a paid product or service. No more than 48 hours. And that's being generous. Like, you can absolutely, like, I don't care if you don't even, like, my very first product was a $5 digital download. And William, it was ugly. It was like, so it was called 51 online resources to find and book your speaking engagement. So I came home from work one night. It was a Friday evening. I sat down at my computer at 10 o'clock. I finished like around 1 o'clock and I put it on like a random page. It was a Excel document that I exported into PDF and put my title, put it onto a payment site, sold it. So 8 a.m. it goes out. By 8:05, I had my very first sale. It was $5. Not anything crazy, but $5. But what that represented was 12 hours ago, not even 12, like less than that, because I started at like 9 or 10 o'clock. Less than 12 hours ago, something that was in my head is now translated into a bank account. This person, by the way, it wasn't my mom. She doesn't have email. Like, it wasn't anybody I knew. It was somebody on my email list in some other part of the country that I didn't have a sales conversation with, that purchased a product that was in my head 12 hours ago. And so being in this space is powerful. And that taught me, is like, okay, you can do that. If I can make 5, I can make 50. If I can make 50, I can make 500, 5,000, 5 million, etc. And so it doesn't matter when you want to quit your job, doesn't matter. Like, what matters is, in life, the formula for this thing is super simple. If you want to make more money, you have one or two levers you can pull. Lever one is you can, so you're solving a problem. But so level one is you can help more people solve that specific problem. So grow your audience. Or lever two is you increase the size of the problem that you're solving. In other words, you're adding more value. So if you want to make more money, if you're making $100 right now, or 10,000 or whatever a week, you could help more people, or you could solve a bigger problem. Now, if you really want to make a lot of money, like Elon Musk, what is he doing? Like Jeff Bezos, they are helping a lot of people. He sold a lot of Teslas last year, but he's also solving a very big problem, like global pollution. That's a big problem. Like somebody the other day was like, yo, the person who solves global warming deserves to be the richest person on the planet. And I kind of agree. Like, you are solving a massive problem. Jeff Bezos is helping us get toothpaste more quickly. Not as big of a problem, but he's doing it with a lot of people. So that's the way it works. And everybody has that same ability.
So if I'm gonna ask this quick question, and then I wanted to go a couple of quick tips on really growing the network. Like I said, I'm building Indie Black Media Network, and I'm trying to really build it. But before then, how can you figure out what problem you're solving? What if you're confused and you're like, I don't know, I know basically in life people say I help them, and I'm like, if everybody's saying I help them, what the heck am I helping you do? You know what I mean? Like, I hear it a lot. I get it a lot. You help me do this. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm helping people do. So how do you figure that out? and turn it, maybe. How do you figure it out and monetize it? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that's a great question. So this may not be the direct answer, but I'm gonna think it might help some people. So we have this concept called the speaker sweet spot. As you probably figured out by now, I love models and acronyms and all that. So here's another one. Speaker sweet spot. So the way the speaker sweet spot works is, you remember in school how you had like the Venn diagram? So you had like the circle and another circle that intersects with it. So imagine that, but it's a third circle. So it's 3 circles that kind of intersect with each other, and there's a thing in the middle. So the thing in the middle is the sweet spot, the intersection of those 3 circles. So circle 1, circle here. I wish I had like a whiteboard, but circle 1 is like passion, right? So your passion, the thing that you love, like you can't shut up about it. Like it's the Matthew Blue, hoodies of the thing. Like there's something in your life that you've been connected to, and that you've been doing either explicitly or implicitly, and you can't go away from it. For some people it's music. For some people it's some people have been amazing mentors, and those are the people that end up like coaches, consultants. Some people are just really great at advice. Some people are really bad at giving advice. So you do not need to be a coach. Do not coach. You need to build a course. You need to go do something else. Even me, like I'm not even like, I don't have any one-on-one consulting clients right now, because from an energy perspective, I just can't manage it. Like I focus on building partnership, communities, and systems, but it took time to like realize that. So anyway, passion is one. So go back and examine your passions. The second area, the second circle that would intersect would be what we call expertise. So what is the thing that you know, what's the thing that you know, and or the thing that you're committed to absolutely mastering in your life? For some people, that's technology. For other people, that's leadership development. Other people, like we had a guy on, Brian, the other day. Him and his wife are close to $1 million in their net worth. Right? They paid off their debt. They bought their first house cash, sold it. They're paying off their house that they currently have in less than 5 years. Just doing amazing. He's an engineer. Like, he's not a financial expert. He doesn't have a Series 7 and all this stuff. Him and his wife were like, yo, we're going to figure this out, and we're going to, get serious about our finances. And so now he's teaching personal finance specifically to, entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But that's an area of expertise. And so, of course, you can look at, things that you majored in school. If you're like me, you've changed your major like 3 or 4 times. You may not even be doing the thing that you majored in. So it's not even necessarily, focused on that, but you really want to look at those things that come naturally to you. And that, going back to what you were saying earlier, Shelly, when people keep saying, hey, how'd you do that? Or can you do that for me more specifically? Or, hey, did you know you did this for me? Like, really pay attention to those things. Like, the universe, i.e. the market, is telling you what they want from you. And it's up to you whether or not you're going to listen. Now, if what the market wants for you doesn't intersect with that first circle, your passion, then you could decide, because there's nothing worse than doing something. There are a lot of people right now. Anybody see the movie Soul that just came out? Like,
No.
great movie. But there's a scene in there that talks about it in Soul, because the guy's like working in like Wall Street or something like that, and then he finally realizes there was like this land of lost. I ain't gonna tell the movie, but basically there's the person realizes that he's been wasting his life, and then he goes crazy, starts messing up the room, and then he like quits like on the spot. What everybody wants to do. So some people are working right now in jobs and careers and professions, and you're getting paid a lot of money, but it's not your passion. You're just good at it. So you don't necessarily need to be, doing that. So anyway, so you got passion, you have expertise, and then the final circle is market demand. And so this is super important, because this is going to determine whether or not you can actually make money. For example, I actually, when Disney Plus came out, and I had, I discovered Hamilton, because I could not get Hamilton tickets at all. Now, like, I know every scene from Hamilton. I can sing the song backwards, forwards, like, let's go. There's actually a Hamilton group on Clubhouse, and we be rocking like to 2 a.m. Is awesome. The one of the girls actually came on and sang. It was cool. So I'm super passionate about Hamilton. I know that joint inside and out. Is there a market demand for people that want to speak about Hamilton? Maybe, but I'm not that guy. So like, you have to figure out like what the market actually wants. How do you know what the market wants? Are people already purchasing the thing that you are looking to solve? You don't want to be the guy or woman who is trying to come in and solve a brand new problem. That's hard and it's expensive, because you're talking about consumer education. You want to go to Google and type in how to blank, whatever, how to find a job, how to grow LinkedIn, how to set up a social media strategy. And there are millions of people searching how to X every single minute. And so look at what those results are and compare that to what you're thinking about. Amazon is another great place. How many books are being written on this subject? How many audio books through Audible are being published? And so there are a bunch of tools you can get into to figure that out, but you want to measure the market demand. And so is there a place where people are attempting to solve whatever problem this is, but then there's a gap there with your expertise, with your passion, that you can then come in and create a unique solution that can help get them that thing that they want faster, cheaper, or in a better experience than what's already out there. And if so, then that's your thing. And so what I just described, Shelly, for many people, it's not something you could sit down over dinner and be like, oh, got my purpose. I'm out. I'm ready for, ready to shoot my message. Like, this takes time. This is a deep work. but it's important work because it's your life's work. Like at the end of the day, you know, you're going to be remembered for something, and there are going to be people that you have touched along the way. And so you have to decide every single day, you're either, you know, building toward your legacy or you are delaying it. And every day you delay, you know, it's another day that you are not operating in your like God-given gift. So that's kind of how we look at it. But speaker sweet spot, passion, expertise, market demand is how you find it.
Awesome, awesome. Um, my question was about the growing, just the different hints that I'm like literally in the process of working on the network, and it's been in the process for a minute, but maybe I need a little something to really get it out there. So what's a good tip for building a indie Black media network? It's a collective of course Black media. I've been in media for a long time, so I, I realized, okay, that's my passion because I can't leave it. TV is what I do. Media is what I do. I
Oh yeah.
write. I realized I was covering all media. I have TV, I have radio, and I have writing. So it's all of it. So I might as well speak to the people because I've learned how to do it all. I didn't expect to. I didn't expect to do any of that. I just wanted to do TV. But now that I'm doing all, I believe I want to speak to them. How do I grow it? What do I do? How do I start it? Because I've been stuck. I'm a little stuck. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, I don't think. I mean, you got people like Dr. Douglas and all these other great people here. You know, I don't think they're going to let you stay stuck for too long.
No,
But
they're not. No, they're not. They help. They do. They really do. They push. But I just a couple little tips to really get it moving.
yeah. So, well, I mean, I can speak to my experience. So, BSN started as a Twitter page and like a dream. So, it didn't start off as this 12,000 person community. In fact, you know, one of the things was when I was hesitant to actually monetize the brand initially because, as I mentioned, like the money mindset had to evolve. But I think the most important thing is you know, one is identifying, you know, what are you really trying to create, and inviting people into that experience. And so for the folks that are media, you know, just getting them on the phone and asking them some questions or creating like a little survey to say, hey, you know, here's what I'm thinking about creating. You know, what do you have the most interest in? Like really, really get into the head of the people that you want to serve. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, you know, do y'all ever watch like a Shark Tank?
Mhm.
Yeah, Shark Tank is my show. Like, if you ever want, like, everything we're talking about right now, Shark Tank, and what's that other show with Marcus Lemonis? Like, The Prophet. I think The Prophet. Yeah. So these shows are great case studies because a lot of times entrepreneurs will create things in like a vacuum, meaning that you know you're trying to solve a problem. And first of all, before I even say that, the reason I started Black Speakers Network because I was the number one customer. So I think you got to start looking at yourself and being like, okay, what frustrates me? Like what am I having trouble with? Like, can I build something that I can be proud of to use myself? Even to this day, like my accountant hates this, but I do it anyway. Like I charge myself, like our membership is $250 a year. I charge myself my own membership fee. So I'm literally getting a charge from my credit card back to me, and I'm losing money because Stripe takes out their percentage. And it's like, she was like, just turn this off. I'm like, nah, like it's symbolic. Like I am member number one. And the moment that I'm not member number one, I should probably sell the company because I'm no longer, you know, serving in that capacity. So you really have to tune in to the things that are going to serve you, and then go to your community and say, okay, here's what I'm dealing with, or here's what I dealt with back in the day. I think I want to create, you know, this resource, this course, this product, this offering, these trainings. What do you think? And then they could tell you, we hate it, Shelly, or yeah, when is that ready? Like, can I get in now? And if they say, can I get in now? Say yes, you know, but you don't have it built. So what? Just start it, because what we want to get used to as entrepreneurs is building the plane while we're flying it. We don't want to take 6 months, 9 months, a year, God, you know, 2 years. Some people have been writing books launching courses since the beginning of like humanity. Like you want to get that thing done.
Stop beating me.
Nah, it's not an indictment because we all did it. Like me too. Like everybody. Matt's done it. Everybody's done it. Catrice, William, we all there. But here's the deal. Starting tonight, line in the sand, let people win. Because the thing is, we will you will learn more if you had a pilot program of just even with 6, 10, 12, whatever people. Even right now, Clubhouse, do y'all know Clubhouse is still in beta? Hundreds of thousands of users, they are still in beta. Like we get that email every month, like, hey, we just fixed this bug. This totally was about to delete all the data on your phone, but it won't anymore. So have fun with it. It's a beta
test. Yeah.
But people are still enjoying it. They're loving it. They haven't even monetized it yet. And so you have to. So why do we think we have to have this perfect product? The first iPhone sucked. The first everything sucked. Like you have to like just have a starting point. But it's counterintuitive because if you think about it, people really love being a part of something new. Now you can't charge them what you would charge them for the finished product. Like you can't be like, oh, this is my $100,000 and I don't even have a handout. Like, no, we can't do that. Don't be janky, but like let people in and let them co-create the process because people love being a part of, exclusive new stuff. You get the benefit of their feedback. You get the benefit of being able to still monetize it and do some of those things. But people value what they help create. So I think that part is fine. So I would say start a pilot, get people into your membership. Don't wait for the WordPress site to be done. Because if you do everything up front and then you get people in, then you're gonna have to go back and change it based on the feedback anyway, which costs more money. So I would rather you have like a Zoom meeting like this with people coming in and be like, okay, here's what we're talking about. We got 6 weeks. We're going through this content. And then people are like, well, what about this? I'm like, we'll talk about it next week. And then you do that a couple more times. And then you start building materials and then you start selling it at higher prices. So there's a great book called The Lean Startup that I highly recommend that will kind of break this down in more detail. But that's pretty much what I think you should do.
That was good. Boom. Drop the mic. Oh, sorry. I got excited. Thank you. You got the mic. You'll drop it. I think I don't want to keep you long. It was one more myth, but I don't think we need to because that was about getting listed on a speakers bureau would bring success. But I don't know if we're all speakers and with that really, resonate. Look.
Hey, look, I knew I like Khadijah. She's just like on it.
Khadijah is.
That's my new. Y'all are y'all all in Philly?
Yeah, pretty much. We're not all. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Yes, no, we're not all in Philly. We're in adjacents. We're all adjacent. It's Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the way over on East Bumble, and then we're all
Bucks.
in Bucks. Yeah, we're all in very different places, but we're close. But we travel.
Does anybody not like Wawa?
Who said they don't like Wawa?
That's my like new Philly, like, but Khadijah, are you in Philly?
Yeah, but I'm also not a native. I'm from Toronto, so I guess that would be why I'm not like as hyped about Wawa as everyone else is. So
that explains it. Yes,
yeah.
You get a pass. Yeah, but that's my acid test, Shelly.
She's Toronto with the Arizona, with the she's experienced in the world and knows a lot of different people. So I like that. So I don't want to like the Speakers Bureau. I don't know if we wanted to go over that because it is mad late. And
I mean, my only thought about the bureau is that it's a myth. If you're starting a speaking business, don't worry about a bureau. Don't worry about an agent. Book yourself and by focusing on some of the stuff we talked about. So that's my only thought for bureaus.
Book yourself. Yeah.
Can he say the name of that book again that he just mentioned?
Oh, the one Khadijah has?
Khadijah, you got it in here?
It's the Lean Startup.
The Lean Startup.
Where is Khadijah? I'm trying to find her. Oh, there she is. Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Look, she's using it too. She got notes in it. I see. some people be having the book and be like, oh, I ain't never opened it, but I got it.
Right? You feel me? Because listen, you was talking about Del Toro, and I got his stuff. Here goes the Del Toro Platinum Series.
Hey, there we go. Okay.
I gotta go ahead and listen to it, don't I? For it to be effective.
Yeah, put that bad boy in.
I know, sure enough. But anybody else have any questions that I know is getting late? Just in case somebody else has a question that I might have missed. But you see that Matthew changed his hoodie to blue, right?
Well, it was blue before, right?
Was it blue?
Yeah.
I swear it wasn't blue before. Was it?
Lighting. It is the lighting.
It was the lighting? Okay, it's me. All right. It's gay.
I was like,
no, let me see.
He hasn't moved the whole time, so that would have been like very impressive. Like,
Vampire stuff.
You found your speaker sweet spot, like sleight of hands. It was like, what's that movie? Now You See Me? It was like, oh, nope.
Really? Absolutely. Anybody else have any questions?
I got a question.
I know you do, sister.
So you were talking about the speaker sweet spot. So what is the sweet spot? I heard, passion, expertise, and market demand. So that little
It's like a Venn diagram.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Say the last part.
That little in between. What I know that's the sweet spot. But what is that considered as far as is that what you come up with?
Oh yeah.
Break down what your passion is.
Yeah. So, because Shelly's question, when I went into that, her question was basically, like, how do you find out, like, what your area of expertise should be as a speaker? Like, what should you be speaking about, basically? Like, what's your topic? So yeah, that intersection should live there. And so, for me, it's kind of like, because a lot of times people will be like, hey, I'm a motivational speaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is okay, but it kind of falls short because people really don't know. Like, if you introduce yourself as a motivational speaker, I still don't really know what you do. Like, are you a leadership expert? Are you going to help me save my marriage? Are you going to help me grow my business? Like, what is that? Like, I think motivation is in 2021 anyway, like, motivation is like free. Like, you can get motivation at church, you can get motivation on YouTube. Now I think you could be a motivational leadership expert. Then you could be a motivational like systems expert or whatever. But I think you need to kind of drill in on like your topic and the person that you need to draw in specifically on a problem and a person. A type of person, not one person, but like the type of person. So that's the sweet spot. So if you're feeling like, wow, I have, and it might not be a direct thing, right? Because a lot of times, we have people that spent maybe you spent like 20 years in HR, or like, I'll use you, Catrice, because you're a model, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a model. So you may be thinking, oh, well, maybe my like expertise is modeling, but we have a lot of people that are, they come from like the beauty and the pageantry world, and they actually end up, their sweet spot ends up being working with young women on confidence, right? Because you had, by extension of being a pageant queen, you had to learn these things. You had to, so it might not be an obvious thing, but if you go one or two levels deeper, you're like, wow, like I really, and I love this, working with these people, which is a great sign, because you don't want to be working with people like, oh, I can't stand it. You want to love what you're talking about, because you're going to be talking about it a lot. Like a lot. And then you want to absolutely make sure that people value it. And I don't think people value, being inspired and stuff like that to an extent, but at the same time, when you start talking about getting paid, like if an organization is bringing you in and cutting a check for like 5,000, 10,000, like it ain't to motivate. Like, we solving an actual problem. Like, somebody's selling something better, somebody's not getting sued for something you said. Like, it's you gotta have some like substance there. So that's what that kind of comes down to.
Okay, I got I thought it because as you were talking, my brain starts like spinning. So I was thinking about things that I'm passionate about, and people may think, oh, well, modeling might be a passion, but it's not. I've talked to Shelly before, and it's like I love talking about stocks, bonds, anything having to do with money. I love to talk about saving money, whatever it is. So I know that that's a passion. A lot of people come to me and ask me, well, when I want to invest, I'm coming to you, so I know exactly what I want to do. So and I can go on and on about all that stuff because I just love talking about it.
I can tell.
But now it's in more of a perspective of how I can turn it into something more. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, follow, shoot me a DM and or a message or email or however this works. Just send me a message. And there's a guy on Clubhouse named Black Tesla. He is crushing it, young guy. And he has this group. I was in the I was in his trading room last week on Tuesday morning. And at first, it wasn't anybody in there. I was like, what's about to happen? And then more people started coming in and he started like sharing. So he does these like stock tips like every single day. And they share like 3 or 4 stocks. So I had some money in my Robinhood account. I was like, okay. They was like, think about this and think about this. There's this like robotics company that does like automated surgery. There's another like cannabis ETF. There's like another company that does like animal care. There's all these different things. So they recommended 10 of the stocks. I bought 3 of them and they're all up by like 20%. So I was like,
yeah.
Okay. So, and he does this thing on Discord every week. So shoot me a message. I'll send you that because I think you would add like a lot of value like to that community. But a lot of times it's more, some part of it is like trial and error a little bit, which is why I said, you can start these things at very low cost. And speaking of Clubhouse is the best place now, I believe, one of the best places. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but Clubhouse doesn't cost anything. And you can test topics really, really quickly, get feedback and refine it. So if you're like, hey, what if I did a topic on, investing for teens, and you just put it out there and then you see how it resonates. And so I think, you can play around with it.
I was trying to figure out how to fit in, the models, like models that invest or models that do, you know what I mean? Like I was trying to figure out how it could fit in because she's got the model community and it's like we're more than just modeling. I mean, like clearly, like literally when you talk to her, you're sitting there talking about, all right, what should I be doing next? I need to be invested in this. Like she's seriously, it's like a serious thing. It's not like she's serious about it. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, this girl. But what if she could kind of merge the thing together, meaning models that invest or model, something where it brings in.
I have a question. How many models still have their money 5 years after they retire or after they leave the business? I mean, I think that's kind of like along the same lines as NBA players. I remember seeing Isaiah Thomas and he was just like, save your money, save your money, save your money. So what is the rule of thumb for a model? Because they retire early too.
Right.
Well, it's getting better now.
Yeah, that's good.
I agree.
Models how to do this stuff so you can make sure, because when you look at it, and this has anything to do with models, but not that I look at it a lot, but different rappers, old school rappers, right? When I'm always researching them, I go into their net worth. And sometimes when you look into the net worth and you figure like this man is super big, they're old school, but it's super big. And then you look at their net worth and you're like, this is impossible that it's so low. This is impossible that I understand it is, but what if somebody was around to teach them?
Yeah.
Leverage your stardom and do this, and this so that your network is not 250,000. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was 250,000.
Give us the name. No, it's like, give us the name.
Because the goal is not to really talk, because I love them all, because they my people. But $250,000 and you are a superstar, a megastar. Somebody could scream your name and throw your panties at you, but your net worth is $250,000. So somebody needs to teach entertainers and people like how to leverage your celebrity and make money. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, I think there's value in that, and even it may not be, even investing necessarily, because if the average model, it depends, but if a person, like, you have to use language that's going to get people's attention, so it may not be like going back to, is it Sheree?
Sheree. Yeah,
Sheree?
excellent.
Like
Good job.
Sheree, that's Sheree,
Sheree.
right? I got it. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like Sheree said, I think kind of like you are, if you had a program like how not to go, how, why it not even a program, but like, if you had a piece of content that was like, why do most models why most models go broke in 5 years or something like that, like that would get, like, I'm not even thinking investing, but I definitely don't want to go broke. And models typically are get paid, they're like 1099 people, right? Like independent contractors. So you're kind of getting paid. So just even like taxes, like you get a $3,000 check and you're making all your money on the front end and you're not planning for taxes, you're going to get ate up, like, by the IRS, even just 1 year, forget about 5 years. So things like that, I think are super important. So, yeah.
Definitely. Any other questions? Go ahead, Kay Bailey.
No, I was gonna say thank y'all because I got a whole bunch of information.
I know you do. Listen, if you want notes, I will go to Kay Bailey. I'm telling you, Catrice, she takes the copious notes.
I got all my notes.
I see.
I just want all her notes, like every note from everything we've ever done. This is notes right here. Every place we go, she has the notes. Matthew takes good notes too. He does. I want some of y'all notes, but anyway.
That sounds like something you could monetize, you guys. You could do the Motivation Monday notebook. You could sell that, part of your network. You could throw that down.
That was part of one of my products. I started doing, like, every conference or something I went to, I took away the things and I was like, all right, I got the notes. But let's do that, y'all. Come on. Whatever it is, but definitely the copious notes. I appreciate it. It is 9:00, and anybody who needs, like Catrice Bailey, she needs an invitation to Clubhouse. I have one. So I'm trying to get her on Clubhouse. Been trying to get her on here today. I'm like, you need to be on Clubhouse. So let's get these invitations going.
I have a bunch of invitations. I just, by the time I'm ready to give somebody my invitation, somebody already invited them. So
I don't even know what Clubhouse is.
Oh,
I don't even know what Clubhouse is.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk to you about that later. Go on.
Clubhouse is a new social media app. It's only on Apple right now, and it's audio only. So no video.
Oh, audio only?
Yeah, it's not recorded. There's no direct message. There's no commenting. It's just live dialogue. So think of a podcast, like a live podcast, but you can invite people into your podcast, basically.
I'm here for it. Okay, Clubhouse.
You have an iPhone?
Yeah.
I don't have an iPad.
Yeah, you can use your iPad. I use my iPad.
How do I send an invitation through? I have I was trying to give out my invitations to make sure I was gonna give one to Catrice.
She gotta sign up first. Well, I recommend she signs up first, and then once she has a username, you could find her and then invite her that way.
So is it free to sign up?
It's free.
Yes, it's free. You have an iPhone, Will?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have invitations. I'll save it for us. Let me tell you. I think I had 5 invitations.
Yeah, and they're starting to replenish them more. So if you use all 5, you'll probably get like 5 more in a couple weeks.
Okay, good.
Well, is this like a secret society?
It is.
It's
you know how long it took me to get invited?
You got to be invited.
Yes.
Oh wow. Is it for entrepreneurs?
It's entrepreneurs. They have all different topics, and so I can't be there all day. I know some people stay there all day, but I can't be there all day. But it's different entrepreneurs, different interests, whether it's relationships, entrepreneurship, hobbies, all different hobbies. And you get into these rooms and you get to speak. Like Brian had a room today, which was it Monday Motivation?
Something like that, yeah.
And you'll have that every Monday, right?
Probably not, but yeah, we did it today because it was. Well, we just got approved for our own club, so now we can do more like consistent like programming. But yeah, it was motivational. It's like a motivational minute, so people got 2 minutes to share like a motivational message. But yeah, it's topics all over. Like I said, I was in this investment thing. I've been the Hamilton room is real. Like there you actually follow specific topics, and then end up there's one on like artificial intelligence. People just start like you can get on and start one, and people will come in. And if it's a good conversation, people will stay. You can invite people up to speak, send them back down to the audience. It's cool. It's cool.
So I was thinking about, I was trying to get y'all on so that we could start up a room, Motivation Monday. Look, you see what it was all a plan here. I'm like, all right, could y'all get on? Could you get on? But I have your invitations ready for you. But I mean, literally my first time going into it, the first day, I finally got my invitation and I was like, I was called in and they kept requesting me to speak. And I was like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to speak. You know what I mean? I was just sitting here and I was like, they keep asking me to speak. So I get in, I start speaking. I get in the next one. They requested me to speak. I was like, you got to be ready. You definitely have to be ready because if they see your name, if they know you, then they like, yo, it's time to speak. I'm like, I wasn't ready.
And you just speak on whatever topic is at hand?
Well, I go to my interest. You go to your interest.
Yeah, every room is going to have a name. So like whatever the name is, you go in there and you don't have to speak. You can just decline, like if you don't want to speak. But
I can't decline. That's corny.
Will they kick you out if you decline?
No, they don't get kicked out. Most big rooms, like, so there's a couple nuances about Clubhouse. Number one, some rooms, if you go, there are rooms, I think the max room limit right now is like 5,500. So there are some rooms with thousands of people in there. So nobody will know if you come or leave anyway. If you go in a room with 6 people, yeah, they're probably going to ask you to like say something because they're trying to keep it going. What's up, Rashad? I just saw you pop in, man. So I think it depends on the room and the conversation, but in a good conversation, everybody's kind of competing for the stage, so it's not really a big deal. If anything, they try to get people off the stage and back into the audience because they'd be like, well, give us your question. And they'd be like, well, I was born in 1984 on a summer's day. And they'd be like, bro, come on, what's your question? Like, we got like 300 people waiting. So it just depends.
Okay. Thank you.
I think you'll like it.
Sounds interesting.
It is interesting. Like I said, from the first day, it was like, okay, you have to be ready. That's why I was like, I feel like you have one chance to make a first impression. So yes. I'm not going to get up there and not be ready. Like for Brian's room, I knew I wasn't prepared. So I was like, oh, you only get one chance. I'm not even going to raise my hand.
Well,
wouldn't that be?
Yeah, I mean, you would have been great.
But wouldn't that be like a good opportunity to practice speaking?
It is the perfect opportunity to practice speaking, so that's why we do it. So yeah.
It was the perfect opportunity, but let me tell you, each person that went before me had a polished intro. It came from intro to message to sales. Like it had everything that embodied everything it was supposed to have. In mine wouldn't. I was like, all right, I will stop short at one thing. And I like to be perfect. I'm sorry, not like that, but I like to be really, I don't know. That's just my personality says when I show up, I want to show up to impress. So I was like, they impressed me. I was impressed by each person, literally. I was like, oh, wow. Their intros were everything I always wanted for all of us. Like the intros were like amazing. It solved the problem. It brought you in. If that's not what you were interested in, you could tell right away, but it solved the problem, gave you interest, and it showed you how to get there. It showed you how to get to Sesame Street in one sentence. I'm just saying.
Hi, I have a question.
We need to use this in our marketing material. I like that. Who had a question?
Victoria.
Oh, I don't see.
She's not coming on.
I'm like, I don't like. Is that like who is like talking? All right, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Victoria. We can hear you.
Why is it just for iPhone people?
So the app is in beta right now. So it just means that it will eventually be on Android, but right now it's new, so they're testing it. And so when you create an app, first of all,
it's because the iPhone is the best phone around.
It is
okay,
not.
I knew somebody
Yes,
was gonna come with some like.
yes.
I'm telling you,
Please.
hands down. I got both phones. I got the iPhone and I got the Android. I promise you, the Android is better. I
It
promise.
is.
I'm mad at
It's
this
the
iPhone
only thing I
every
own.
day. I'm mad
It's
at
not Apple. Is my phone. Everything else is Apple.
I own stock in both companies, so I don't really care. But I just know that I use whatever works. But I don't.
Oh, okay.
And I think like what
Victoria,
it comes down to,
go ahead.
is that when they decided to change the design of the iPhone, didn't they make it more like a Samsung?
No, I have
Yes,
two
they did.
iPhones.
No, the iPhone is a lot less complicated than any Android.
I'm not participating.
No,
in
it's
this.
But they totally redesigned it to look. Our phones,
agree.
you can run them over with a car and they still work. Your
I ain't-
phones, you guys
wanna be-
drop yours just a little bit from your hand to the table and it's done.
Now that's
That's
why you gotta
it.
have the out of box.
Yeah.
Man. This is like the perennial debate. Like
it is, but I wanted to.
From experience.
I mean, this might be a good hack for y'all. When you get into Clubhouse, just make your first room iPhone versus Android. Go. Then
Okay.
you have,
Good idea.
you have thousands of followers.
Good idea.
Let's go, y'all. Who's coming? When y'all get
I'm
in,
coming.
I'll send you the invite and then we'll do that.
Yo,
Because
you gotta follow me. I'm already in Clubhouse. I do a entrepreneur business owner thing with a couple other partners every Monday at 6:30.
All right, what's your can you put your name in the chat?
Yeah.
And then
You can find me anywhere, Rashawn Howard. Shelly taught me that.
oh yeah, that's good. Mark. Yeah, she's the branding guru. I'm telling you. Like, you don't need to know nothing else.
it's so crazy. Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
literally
I need an invite.
I'm gonna send you an invite, but it's from
I already got you. Don't even worry about it. I got you.
Appreciate it.
Look at that picture though, man. That boy clean, yo. That boy clean. Son. Is that a cartoon?
yeah, it is actually.
Okay. All right. I ain't mad. Look. Look, he got something commissioned. Like, look, I'm about to hit these Clubhouse streets. I need my lines. Perfect.
I knew he would be ready in the Clubhouse. I knew he would, but he didn't. That's crazy. I'm thinking about all these people, but you forgot about me. I was sitting there because they were sending it to my phone. They was sending it to my real phone, and I'm like, y'all keep sending it to the wrong phone. I'm like, that's not my iPhone. So I was stuck for a minute because I didn't want to give nobody my other number.
Oh yeah. Well, I put my email address and my number here for folks in the chat. So feel free to shoot me a message. I love to stay in touch. Great conversation. Like, did we answer? Oh, Victoria, did we answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. You did.
Okay. But if you don't have an Apple, I mean, a lot of people have been getting iPad minis, which you can get aftermarket for like $200 or $300. And then just hook it to your Wi-Fi, and that way you don't have any monthly bill.
Okay, that's something to think about because the iPad I have is so outdated. It's crazy, but thank you.
But you can still, I mean, even without data, I'm sure you can still get on Clubhouse.
Yeah, just delete all the other apps and just use Clubhouse. Don't slow you down.
That thing's so slow, man. She need to throw it away.
Oh yeah. Y'all married, right, Victoria?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, y'all in like different parts of the house?
Yeah, I'm in my office and she up in her office.
Oh, that's the life right there. That's what I'm like. In her office. That's what I'm talking about.
Down the room table. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Victoria, you supposed to go ahead with it. You supposed to follow your husband and say, yes, that's right. I'm in the quarters of the office.
I'm in the office.
I guess I keep it too real. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's nice. That was real nice.
Yes.
Samurai sword?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, well, what we doing?
I need your help decorating. I got a lot of wall space I need to fill up. Cool. Any other questions?
That.
Look, Victoria does that. Look, Victoria. Look.
Oh yeah. That's part of the company. You know, we do a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's dope. That's really dope. Yeah, I like that. See, that's the thing. Yeah. See, my